Thank you, sir, for giving your important time. And let's start with your story. What were your early experiences with money and the growing up responsibility? And what led you to become the wealth architect for the wealth families of a wealth businessman in Bangalore?
Yeah, thank you, Krishna. It's my pleasure to be with you on your podcast. That is a Daydreamers.
Yeah.
I born in a business community families. For me, money was not just a numbers. As soon as my father shut down his business for that day, and used to come and have a dinner with us, used to talk a lot of things with us, not just numbers. What was the credit period for whom we need to pay the money, and which stock we need to retain, what kind of product line we need to bring in our business. There were so many conversations we used to have. So for us, any business family, money is not just a number, it's an identity, it is a reputation, it is a relationship between many stakeholders. So one small decision fails, it impacts so many stakeholders. So we used to discuss every night, especially my parents, we were kid that time. We used to understand we used to just trying to understand what is business, what ultimately my father is trying to do. We were not able to get that properly. As soon as I graduated, I followed my passion, that is business. Unfortunately, I lost 70 lakhs within 2 years. That made me to think, instead of thinking, how can I make that money back very quickly, I started thinking, how can I build a business which is very resilient and there would be a continuity. That thought triggered me and started exploring across the world how to build the wealth that stays forever. I noticed that during that journey, many people were building the wealth. They were not preparing their next years for that continuity, and came to know that 70% of the wealth loses by first generation, 90% of the wealth loses by second generation. Why? I started going deeper and deeper. Then that became my passion. Now I understood that for every wealthy families or HNIs, there are 4 C's concern. That is, first C is, how can I control my assets across my company, group of companies, or else with I may be having a shares my friends company or partners companies. I may be having some assets in Karnataka, Delhi, Maharashtra, or in different countries. How can I control all those assets? Second one is, how can I build a confidentiality in this my group of companies, so that only my family members would know what is what. It should not get leaked to the public. Third one is, how can I consolidate those assets from different entities under one roof, so that it is easy for the succession and managing. And fourth is very important C, that is continuous flow of assets across multiple generations. So understood this the concerns and started developing my own frameworks around that. From this, my journey has created as a family wealth architect. Now I work with the CEOs of large companies. I handle their personal wealth, and also I do the cross-border transactions. That is moving the money from one country to different countries like India to Dubai, Dubai to Hong Kong to Singapore, so that the tax efficiency we can build, and also the better asset production I can give to my clients' assets. And I create estate plans for patriots of wealthy families. The few parliamentarians, maybe MLAs or a few MPs also consult my tax counsel to protect their wealth. And I started innovating very financial architectures for the HNIs, which is very customized and personalized as per their situation.
Nice.
Yeah.
You often says that many people earn some crores, but they feel broke. So what is the reason behind that? Why many successful entrepreneur as well as family business feels broke even after making crores of money?
Krishna, what I noticed is when I speak to my clients, on one side, their balance sheet looks very strong. A lot of business, real estate, and investment. Sometimes if I speak with them, what is the exact concern or issues they're facing, it is always about liquidity. I'll share one analogy with you. Say, for example, there is a tree. Which is more important, tree or roots?
Definitely root.
Perfect. If I cut the top of the roots and if roots are still there and strong, the tree would regrow and start bearing the fruits. Similarly, in the financial terms, many people do not understand this like you, Krishna. Assets means tree. Income means roots. The strength of the tree is nothing but the strength of the assets are determined by the roots, that is income. So, other side of the story when I speak with the clients is the tree is strong, however, the roots, the income are weak because most of their assets are in the illiquid asset classes like the business, their own businesses, or unlisted shares which we cannot sell it immediately. They have a 60-70% of the exposure has gone to the real estate, which is highly illiquid in India to sell. And if I start selling, I need to do the fire selling to find the immediate buyer by giving discount, 20, 30, 40% discount.
Yeah.
And second point is their wealth is concentrated on one or two asset classes itself, like business or real estate. Where is the liquidity asset class? Very few people would be having. So this is the major issue in any business, I can say. One is liquidity issue and another one is the uncertainty in the business. We need to keep preparing with the liquidity ladder. What does that liquidity ladder means? We need to plan what is the money or liquidity is required for the short term, medium term or long term and for the legacy planning. And also we need to do the legacy planning, like who has to control what kind of framework we need to have, what kind of structure we need to have, so that they don't get into that typical situation for any business, that is they're asset rich, cash flow poor.
Right.
That is my role, being an architect, wealth architect, design a structure so that they not only become the asset rich and also they become cash flow rich.
Yeah. So, if you had to pick one money mistake which most of the Indian families, especially business families, makes, what would it be?
Krishna, I've seen this again and again over many years. The mistake is the same. One prominent mistake is having an informal understanding among family members. Most of the family business owners, especially the patriots of well-known business families, they don't want to talk about the mortality. Death is certainty 100%. They don't want to accept that. They don't plan for what will happen if they're not there tomorrow. They don't plan.
Okay.
So one is it's unwritten understanding among the family members. Some people say, for example, I have a client who has two kids. One kid is into business and another kid is outside India, abroad. Everyone is assumed that the person who is involved in the business, he gets the business, and another person who is in the abroad gets the property.
Right.
But that is not the law works. Law gives business to the both sons.
Right.
And the property is also to the both sons.
Right.
So, if you do not have a written plan, then the government will create a plan for you that will not be as per your wishes. And government doesn't understand your emotions. Government doesn't understand, or law doesn't understand your unwritten, informal plans. And the second one, to substitute that is unfunded plan. Say, for example, I'll take the same example. A business owner wanted to give his business to the son who is involved in that business. But what happens if they do not have the liquidity to buy out the shares from another son who is not involved?
Right.
So, the true important thing what I bring to the table is, when I sit and talk with the founders, Krishna, is what are all your unwritten rules? I try to understand. Then how do you find those wishes? From there, my conversation starts and comes out with a clarity, continuity for their business.
When you go through the balance sheet of different business families, what is one mistake you find again and again, or you can say what is the one wealth leak you find again and again in almost all the families.
Yeah, very interesting, Krishna. The wealth leak in most of the business is the signature concentration. In a family, whether it is a multi-family business houses or a single family businesses, the one person signs every document, whether it is for the personal guarantee or the loans or to run the business or to get into the contracts, only one person signs. Okay, if one person's signature goes wrong, because maybe the business get into the bankruptcy or is one lawsuit against this business owner, their entire personal assets gets affected.
Right.
So one brother's mistake, every brother's family personal assets gets affected. This is one and main one. And another sub wealth leak for this is, as I told you, Krishna, their wealth is concentrated on one concentrated business. Only on the business, having only one source of business income, one line of business. When the COVID hit, now the regulations are changing across the world because of the Trump traffics. Just one regulation is enough for the business to shut down.
Yeah, right.
So this is a true risk I always see. And when the founders earns the money, he doesn't know where that money has to go. Whether that money has to go to their parents' retirement or their retirement or vendors' payment or salary, go to the marketing, go to the bank.
You mean to say that
They don't know how what that 1 rupee, what they earn, how it has to be flow.
yeah.
And another riskier thing, Krishna, is sometimes they use the business income for their personal expenses also.
Okay.
So this is the major leak what I see in business houses. How I can help those business owner is, first I'll understand what all the risk they're carrying as a business owner. And I'll help them to understand that personal finance is separate and business finances are separate. If business fails, it is okay. You can rebuild the business. If you mix personal finance with the business finance, if business fails, your personal family also fails.
Right.
And if you want to start one more business, what does your family member says?
Right.
Keep quiet. No more business. Sell all your existing assets, put in the FD and run the family. That's enough.
Right.
If they have the proper structure, even if their business fails, their family stands. And their family supports the business owner's entrepreneurial spirit. They allow them to start one more business.
Right. So you mean to say that they don't have a proper budget allocation for each and everything what they are needed?
Yes. And also, since they have a signature concentration, we need to set up just to go deeper into this. So what we do is the business risk should not apply to the personal assets. So we create a business trust and we mitigate all the risk within the business itself.
Okay.
If something risk occurs, only the business assets, the creditors has to take,
Okay.
not their family assets.
Right.
There are so many ways we can structure the assets around this, around their wishes to protect their assets. Yeah.
So middle class, or you can say more of a affluent class as well, they believe in saving more and investing more into financial product. So as per you, is this the right decision which they makes in their financial career, or you can say in a financial planning?
I'll give two examples from my own client's story. Okay. I was working with a CXO level client. I've asked him, what is your goal? Why are you working?
Okay.
I don't know, he said.
Okay.
And I have another client who is a first generation business owner. He is into this business for almost 2 decades. I've asked him, why are you building the business?
Okay.
What is the purpose of the business? He said, I'm just enjoying, I'm doing the business. There is no purpose.
Okay.
So why I'm telling these two examples are because before, okay, say for example, there would be a fight between 2 countries. You are the Army General of India and one more country you want to fight. So what is the first thing we do? Tomorrow is the war. What is the first thing we do?
We do the preparation.
Preparation, correct? So we understand what is my army strength, navy strength, air force strength, how many grenades I have, how many soldiers I have. Then I do the SWOT analysis. What is my strength, weakness, opportunity, threats? Then I'll put a target. Okay, tomorrow is the war. Next 5 days is the war. Maybe it's a surgical strike. In 5 days, I need to close. What I need to do it. So the people simply saving, simply investing doesn't work. First, we need to understand where are we standing. Okay. First, when my clients or potential clients start working with me, first I'll understand. I'll make sure they understand from where they're getting the income, what all their expenses are there, and what are the things they own, what are the things they owe to others. So this gives the financial statement. Okay, and I'll show them the mirror. Where are they at now? Next, we need to aim. I'll tell them, what is your freedom number? I'll ask them. Or else, what do you want to achieve in your life? Whether you want a financial freedom where work should be optional, or else work should be your choice, or else you have certain style of lifestyle you imagine you want to pursue those kind of lifestyle, I'll understand that. Then I set up few portion of the money into a production of their income, and a few portion I'll allocate for the growth, maybe to acquire the new skill set or to create some opportunity fund if they get a very good deal so that they can acquire those deals. Or I create some growth fund in their own business if they want to acquire more inventory, maybe for the season. They can acquire more inventory and make short-term money very quickly. So I'll understand for the growth. And another one is for the retirement income, and another one is for the legacy. So you became rich because of the mass people.
Right.
So it is our duty to give it back. So I do the charity planning also for the clients, and few portion we need to allocate to the next generation. So we plan this thing as well. So in coming back to your question, save more, investment more doesn't make sense. Say for example, you're doing 15 years or 20 years, save more, invest more, save more, invest more. You don't know for what purpose you're doing it. Then still you are in the same confusion mode.
Right.
So before thinking, where can I save, where can I invest, ask, what is your sole purpose? Let's align everything towards that sole purpose. You can lead a happy life.
There should be a goal for the...
Yes, first is a purpose.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you build a structure. Okay, if I want to buy the property, whether I need to buy a property in the individual name, in the LLP, or in a trust, or special purpose vehicles. Even before you even start the savings and investment, we need to build a structure.
Right.
And under those structure, we need to start buying saving or buying those products.
Okay. If somebody is starting their career from very scratch and they are into their early 20s or 30s, you can say, and they want to build a long-term wealth, or you can say a wealth in a right way in another 10 years, what should be their plan? What should they do?
When you're starting quite early, say 20s or 30s, what you need to do in next 10, 15 years so that you have a strong foundation, right?
Right.
So when you start your career, you may not have built the assets enough, so that assets are not working for you. So what is the greatest strength you have is ability to think, ability to produce value to the organization where you are working or to the market. Your ability to produce value matters a lot. So the first 10 years, I wanted to focus on acquiring the new skills to solve the problems, and also build the right relationships in the market, so that these two becomes your strong foundation for the next decade. Once you make a list of all the skill set, what all you need to learn, what all people I need to build a relationship. Next, we'll move to the understanding how this money has to flow. I have a proper tracker. This is the income I'm getting from the salary or business. This is how the expenses are going. This is my budget. This is what I need to do it. I have a proper setup of the tracker. Because habit matters a lot in the long term. Money is not there. At least you build the habit so that when the money kicks in, this habit will multiply that money. Third one is have a plan for the contingency. What happens in the next 10 years if you can't work because of the disability or accident? What will happen to the dependents on you? If you're a salaried person, maybe family members, if you're a businessman, then your customers are dependent on you, your investors are dependent on you, bankers, many ecosystem is dependent on you. What if you can't work? You need to understand this and build a plan for the protect that income when you can't work. And the fourth one is start thinking the structures before you build the products. Who has to own what, how I need to build. Okay, I'm doing business in a proprietary firm. Can I make it into more proper legal entity like LLP or privately limited? Yes, to think. And if you're an employee, then you need to think that how can I take up bigger challenges in my company and solve bigger problems in the market so that my capacity increases. Friends, remember, the money always follow the value. Be more valuable to the marketplace, to your employer, so that the money you can make it more and more. The more complex problems I solve, more bigger problems I solve for my clients, the more money comes to me, isn't it? The same way. Always remember one thing, viewers, every money has a role. If 1 rupee comes in, that 10 paisa has to go for protection, 10 paisa go for growth, 10 paisa go for marketing, not exactly 10%, whatever it may be. But there should be a role for each and every rupee you earn. Don't earn simply save more, invest more. That is a wrong strategy.
Right.
And when you have built the seasonable size of assets in next 10-15 years with the proper structure, you can multiply those assets. Krishna, what happens in the market is at a certain level, money will keep adding to your balance sheet.
Right.
Once you cross a certain threshold, money multiplies. So first 10-15 years, save that money. Once you have seasonable money, think of how to multiply, not just add.
So you talk about a structure and control more than chasing the returns. So it's almost like owning nothing but controlling everything. So what do you mean by that, and how can you prove that? But you can say practically in terms of if you are managing a family wealth or family business wealth.
To make it interesting, I have a conversation with you, Krishna.
Definitely.
Say, for example, let's assume you are having 1,000 crores worth of assets with business in different states, different countries, and you have younger brother and your relatives. Everyone is in your business to support you in the business. You own everything and controlling everything. And your family members also owns some shares in your business, and also they're controlling your business as and when you assign them the role and responsibilities. Say, for example, you have a son, let's assume. Son gets into some contract with some other entity.
Yeah.
And that goes for a toss. And what will happen?
So it depends. What is the
So whatever the shares your son has in your business,
that
he has to liquidate and give it to that person for the creditors.
right.
There's the risk of owning the shares in your own name.
Name.
So, say for example, if that person gets divorced, so part of the shares, whatever the son owns, is to give to your daughter-in-law, ex-daughter-in-law.
Yeah, right.
Do you want that?
No, definitely not.
And the third one is, if person who owns the shares, it dies.
Yeah.
What happens? Your daughter-in-law comes into the picture. You and your daughter may not be having a good relationship. And if she says that, no, I want to pass the voting share like this only. But you and your son had a very good understanding because you both grew the business together.
Right.
If third-party person comes and sits in the board meeting and puts the button on the voting rights, the business doesn't go in the right direction.
Right.
Because of the one mistake, Even your personal assets also get confiscated. One legal notice, maybe GST or legal shock, is enough to shake on your assets.
Right.
So what generally I say to the business owners is, why don't you keep everything in your name? Move everything to the trust. So who is the legal owner now?
Yeah.
Trust.
Trust. Yeah.
And you be the trustee. You control everything. So with this, whatever the succession laws applicable, that is not applicable to you.
Okay.
Because trust is not a person. All this Indian Succession Act is applicable to the individuals, not to the trust. So if a trust holds the holding company, and this holding company holds multiple operating companies, one for the business, one for the real estate, one is for the IP, to hold all your IPs, one is for the risk management, and one is for the charity planning. So if one operating company goes for a toss, it doesn't imply other business. One balance sheet goes down, another balance sheet is always stood strong, stay strong. So all this business risk, everything I'll mitigate under the trust.
Right.
So since trust is the owner, you can control everything, and you own all your personal assets. Your personal assets are completely protected from any kind of risk.
Right.
And I'll put rules. I'll create a constitution. I'll create a governance in the trust, saying who has to control what kind of business, who has the rights to monitor what kind of assets. I put complete structure. Who is responsible for what, and whose decision has to overrule another person. In the extreme situation, what has to happen? In the best situation, what it has to happen? So like this, own nothing, control everything, build complete asset protection, build a lot of liquidity, enjoy your life.
Yeah. Nice. Just completely different, which I'm hearing from you as I spoke with the different business owners. They don't have this kind of understanding
Yes.
about their businesses.
Yes.
Right. What is the right age to start planning for the retirement legacy, or either say the retirement planning, and how does it differ from the business professionals, entrepreneurs, or and the working professionals?
For the working professionals or salaried people, I say that you start thinking about retirement maybe by early 30s. When you think about your own retirement, you need to also think that you need to think about your spouse's security also. And also think that and also plan that you should not depend on your children. Because when you retire, you need to retire with a dignity. If you depend on your kids, that becomes the charity.
Right.
Depending on someone else's charity. Don't depend on the charity. Be self-reliant. Even think about your spouse, and also plan retirement. Retirement is the longest vacation, I can say. Like 60 to 80 is the no active income. You're retired.
Yeah.
So when you don't get a paycheck for the next month, it is difficult to live for another 6 or 8 months upon your savings. So how can you live for 20 years without a paycheck?
Right.
So please plan. And for the business owners, as soon as they start the business, they need to start thinking about retirement, because so many dependents on their shoulders. Their spouse, their kids, creditors, bankers. In the future, they need to do the lot of expansion. So business owner, they don't have time even think for the retirement. They keep building business. They don't even think about what happens to their personal life. One risk is enough to shut down their business. So for them, I say that start thinking at earliest. I generally do the three things. One is for the retirement. Second one is the succession planning. Business owners has to think who has to control what, who are the managers, everything they need to do. Start thinking in terms of succession planning, and also legacy planning they need to do. How wealth has to be distributed, what kind of value system they need to give to the next generation. So all these things they need to start quite early itself.
Okay.
If you ask me when is the right time for salaried or business people, Krishna,
Yeah.
the best time is when you realize that you need to protect your family members when you are not there tomorrow. When you start realizing that, start preparing for all these kind of questions.
Right. So for a typical Indian family, how estate planning works, let's say कि in terms of wills, nominations, family agreements, and what do you think? What is the right time to uh, form a trust to any family?
Okay. This is a very interesting question, Krishna. Let us understand what is estate planning before I can share what we need to do in the estate planning. Okay.
Okay.
Estate planning means many people think that estate is a real estate. No. Estate means whatever you own and whatever you own after you die is a part of your estate. Transferring those assets from one generation to multiple generation as per your letter of wishes is called estate planning. In the estate planning, there are 4 layers. Layer number 1 is have a will, proper nominations, proper family agreements, so that everyone is cleared. Like you have heard maybe the gifting the properties when the patriarch is alive. When you are alive, you can do the family agreements with everyone consent. So all those things are basic arrangements we need to do it. That is layer number 1. Layer 2 is we need to have the roles and conversation with the family members. Do you have any disability person in your family? And if you become too old, who is going to take care of you? And if someone falls sick, what will happen to that person? Someone goes to the coma or ICU, there is a very little chance that he will be alive. What will happen? What kind of decisions we need to make during that critical situation? So this kind of conversation we need to have. And if CEO leaves, or if the founder itself is the CEO of the company, how we need to replace that CEO? So all kind of roles and conversation we need to have. This is layer number 2. Layer number 3, once we have the basic structure and roles and conversation are done by understanding the letter of wishes, then we need to structure those assets. Whether it requires LLP, private limited, or as any special purpose vehicles, we need to understand whether they have assets across borders, whether I need to set up an international trust for international assets, or for domestic assets, Indian trust we need to create. Now we have a gift city. The gift city acts as an offshore for Indians. So we can create a business there also. We can create trust there also for the tax efficiency purpose. So there are so many ways, permutation combination we need to do it. How to hold all these assets, that is called as asset structuring.
Right.
And 4th one is funding. Layer 4th is the funding. Okay, once the structure is done, once the wishes are noted down, once the basic documentations are done, now I need to understand if 2 family members are there, one person wants to sell their shares, whether he can sell that shares to the outsider, outside the family.
No.
If outside the family happens, if they come outsider, they don't understand our value system.
Right.
The culture, the way we built our family, the culture may lose. So we may need to do how to buy those shares internally. For that, where the funding comes from. When the tax issues happens, where the funding comes. If I want to equalize the wealth across many generations, from where should I get the funding? And if one family member in the multi-family business houses, one family member wants to start a business, he wants to borrow the money. Against what he wants to borrow?
Right.
So there should be liquidity planning. That is funding planning for every step. So I combine documentation, structuring, and funding so that the beautiful plan comes out. And with this plan, the generation after generation, they can just follow the plan.
What is the most difficult emotional or financial condition you have taken care for a family, which made you think about the money, relationships, and their values?
Krishna, 3 years back, I used to meet first generation business owner who was in early 60s in a social settings. Whenever I used to telling that let's have a plan for your family. He used to say that we'll do it later, we'll think, like that. 1 year back, I got a call from my friend who was introduced to this person. He said that he is no more. Can you come and access the situation and how you can help now? I spoke to the deceased person's wife. There was no return plan for their family. He survived with one wife and one daughter and one son. Son was taking care of the business, and the daughter was married, got married and settled in a different state. They were assuming that son was assuming that he will inherit the business, and daughter was thinking that she will get a few properties, and wife had no clue at all how much assets her husband were having, what is the loans they have, what kind of loans they have. She had no clue at all. And relatives were grieving the sudden dismiss of the relative. And bankers, suppliers, employees were shocked. They don't know what is the next thing happens in the business. The creditors were thinking whether they need to reduce their supply chain because they don't know whether his son will take care of the business in a same optimal level. And bankers were thinking to reduce their OD amount from 10 crores to 5 crores because they didn't have the confidence in the business that they do well. Okay, and that time I understood, what I understood is I can do only the damage control that time. I can just list what all the assets they have, what kind of liquidity they have. I can sort out something. I can do only the damage control.
Right.
But the same kind of discussion, if I had 6 months earlier to this event, I would have sat with the family members, understood what is the wishes of the person who died. So it was well planned, and everyone would have happily agreed to the plan.
Right.
And the inheritance would have been much more smoother without any frictions and conflict. So when I meet, the lesson what I learned from that is, when I meet my clients or potential clients, I don't wait for the right time. I understood that being intelligent or being clever doesn't make sense. I need to be early. I need to immediately expose to the risk what they will incur if they are not there. So maybe first meeting or immediately in the second meeting, I'll tell all the risk immediately itself. I don't wait for the right moment. Because that right moment, I don't know, that someday is not in the calendar. If I meet and if you say that, Sandeep, let's meet someday. Is there a someday in the calendar? No.
Right.
So that's why when I meet you, then and there only I'll tell you, this all the risk you will occur. Okay. So I understood that being early matters more than being clever or having so many certifications or wisdom doesn't matter. I need to be early. So this is the emotional lesson what I learned.
Okay. So what do you think? How should somebody deal with these kind of things by preparing for the worst case situation which is about to come? You have to presume that this, if so and so will happen, instead of happening that thing, we should prepare early before that happens.
See, one thing is, first I tell them this is what will happen. Yeah. But most of clients will come back to me only when they realize that the family will suffer if they do not plan. Once they realize, they immediately start working with me. But whether they realize or not,
so
my duty I'll do.
Okay, so your duty is to make them realize
yes,
that this is
quite early.
So so and so is going to happen. Yes. If in case you are not prepared for the
yes, and I'll share them lot of white papers, lot of case studies, okay, and even tell them how my family. Even I have multiple partners. Right. I have multiple businesses. How we structure our wealth also I'll teach them.
Right. If you could teach one money principle to each and every child of this country, what would it be and why?
I realized this principle very lately in my life, Krishna. One principle or one core principle I want to teach every child, not just in India, across the world, is money is a responsibility. Money is a tool. Money is not a status symbol. Money doesn't reflect the value of the human being. What I want to say is, if you have 100 crores, it doesn't mean that you are a good human being.
Right.
If you have 10 crores or even liability, it doesn't mean that you are not a good human being. Money should not reflect who you are. Money should not be the criteria of valuing the human being. That is wrong. For every child, I say that you are just a custodian of the money. You are not a consumer of the money. Use it wisely, responsibly. Understand what money I want to keep it for my protection. What money I want to grow. What money I want to give it back to the society and to the next generation. Please be clear on what I keep, what I grow, what I give. What I keep, what I grow, and what I give. Please be clear on this.
Right.
And for the parents, for the wealthy business families or the wealthy individuals, I want to say that being a trust and entrepreneur or specialized in a family wealth architect, it's not about what you give to the next generation, what your kids will inherit from you. Please give them the mindset so that they can handle the whatever the inheritance they have done it. They got it from you.
Right.
If they don't have the mindset to handle the inheritance, they lose everything.
Right.
So, for the as you grow adult, think financially responsible, have a stable financial life, and always think how you can impact the community where you live, so that not only you and also people who are in your community also they can feel happy.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for so insightful podcasts which we are having today. And thank you for your knowledge and experience.
Thank you, Krishna, for having me here. Thank you so much.